Now, speaking of risk, if you go more broadly into the space of the companies being audited across the economy, increasingly in Australia and New Zealand, I know internationally, the focus is very much around non-financial risk, integrity, as well as in internal control and how those are managed within companies. How do you see the audit role and standards fitting into that, whether that might be within risk assessment in a financial audit or maybe more broadly in other types of assurance engagements?
I was the task force chair of the risk assessment standard, so ISA 315 or 315, depending on the part of the world you're from, and it was really interesting. It's part of a much broader conversation, obviously, around risk. What we're focused on is financial statement risk with ISA 315, and thinking about, what is it about the organisation, the way it's structured, the way its business model is put together. Is it using IT heavily? Is it not? All of those considerations were focused on as a task force to work out, well, how do we need to update and kind of take a step forward around focusing on getting the right risks identified and then responding to them appropriately comes naturally with the other standard. The bigger picture of, non-financial risk, I think, is absolutely front and centre in a lot of conversations with our stakeholders at the moment. We obviously have standards to help with, providing assurance when it's not historical financial information. So a lot in the sustainability space. We're seeing a lot of stakeholders around the world looking at different ways of reporting to stakeholders different sorts of information. So, ethical sourcing, supply chain, slavery, modern day slavery in your supply chain, all those sorts of things. They're not the historical financial reporting information that we would have focused on from a risk assessment standard. But I absolutely believe that the principles are the same that you apply. So I don't think it's that difficult for us to think about it. If I think really creatively around some of the stuff we're hearing coming out of, artificial intelligence, your phone listens to you, your Google Home listens to you, what are companies doing with that data, and is that okay, and is there an opportunity to have some standards around that sort of piece as well? The principles are exactly the same. You have to think about the risks of where can things go wrong, and how do we manage it, and what's okay to be allowed to happen, so to speak. The same as, what's okay from a risk of material misstatement, what can we live with, that concept of materiality, that applies to any kind of assurance that you're providing, whether it's reasonable or limited. So I see a lot of crossover, and certainly a lot of benefits in thinking about, the sort of financial statement assurance framework we have, and being able to apply core principles to non-financial information as well. And I think it's a great opportunity ahead of us to get involved in the various stakeholder conversations that are going on at the moment.
My sense is that this is going to be an ongoing discussion. I think some jurisdictions are well ahead of others in thinking about the role of non-financial information being disclosed, but we see ourselves very much as part of the discussion, and as different reporting frameworks emerge, obviously we're hoping that there'll be some consolidation in that space, but play our role as users demand.
It's only always seemed to me that starting from the point of information that can have assurance around it is important, because that means you can actually end up trusting that information, right? Is it? Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you stopping by. I know it's a very quick trip, Tom, and we hope to see you back soon. And Fiona, thank you as always. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.